you. In this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes. That one's from Mr. Benjamin Franklin. Don't we love our little quotes? Don't we love our little made-up thoughts like this? Don't we use them all the time? In a very real way, they pretty much shape the way we think as a society and the way we act. So I thought it would be a good idea to use this one as an example of how we're being manipulated and contributing to this manipulation ourselves. So yeah, death and taxes. I'm sure you've heard this before. The only thing in this world that can be certain is death and taxes. Really? Well, I beg to differ. Maybe in Mr. Franklin's time it was a reality, but today that's not true anymore. We need to get rid of these kinds of thoughts, and they've been here for a long time, and we really need to sort of purge our minds and our hearts of these kinds of thoughts, because they really don't help us at all. So let's take I guess the first one, death. Death is a certain thing, right? I don't know, man. I don't think so. It was at some point, but why should it still be? I mean, we have a cloning technology these days that can do pretty amazing things. Artificial intelligence also is said to be able to mimic the brain 100% pretty soon. Like, I read recently that by 2050, artificial intelligence will be more intelligent than humans, unless humans become a little smarter, obviously. I also find it interesting that in science fiction, you basically never see humans being able to age more than our current aging process, and I think that's done intentionally. We have to keep people thinking that at a certain age they gotta die, because that's helpful for whoever's in charge. There's a jellyfish, you might have seen that, it was in the news quite a bit, a sort of jellyfish that's been found that is literally eternal. It's in our oceans right now. It's a microscopic jellyfish that has a strange metabolism. It has a cycle of life where it evolves and it ages, but when it gets old, the metabolism reverses, the cycle reverses, so it becomes young again, and it does that apparently eternally. From what I've read, it's becoming a problem because these things procreate, but they don't die. So maybe we'll soon have oceans full of these eternal beings. And there's a lot of research being done on these things to apply their metabolism to humans. And if it's already everywhere in the media, in the mainstream media, you bet your ass that they've already found a lot of things, I'm sure. So as far as I'm concerned, this concept of, at around 60 you start getting sick, and at around 70, 80 hurry up and die, I think that's fake. I think that's done purposely on us through vaccines, chemtrails, the fake food, the crap in the water, everything. And I think we need to change the way we think about this and not accept it as a reality. I'm pretty sure if we didn't have all this and the technology was used in a positive way and people had access to resources that are out there, I'm pretty sure we could live way beyond 100 years old. So I would not be surprised if we could be 200, 400 years old, something like this. And again, in science fiction movies, that is not part of any science fiction movie that I've seen. The only cases where people live really old is when they're extraterrestrials. But humans, they live our normal accepted lifespan in movies, and it's pretty rare that they go beyond that. So let's talk about taxes. Okay. We have a financial system. Well, we are being dealt a financial system. Here's how it works. Basically, it's a variation on that theme, because depending on which country you live in. Basically, when you go to the bank to withdraw money, the bank doesn't, if you want like $10,000, the bank doesn't need $10,000 to lend you money. They need nothing, or pretty much nothing. They used to need the money. There were laws that forced the bank to have the money they lent, but through lobbying and they're pretty good at changing laws. They got rid of that, and now they don't need anything to lend money. So they basically just punch in their computer 10,000 and you have $10,000. So it's basically fake money. It's money that doesn't exist that they're giving you. But you have to give them back real money, real value, which is why so many people are losing their homes right now. In Canada, we have a government bank called the Bank of Canada. That's what's written on the dollar bills. People think that they are in charge of money. They print money for us. They do and they don't. They print a small amount of money, maybe 5 or 10% of what we need, and the rest they borrow from private banks. So the national debt that we owe, that we keep hearing politicians talk about, that's what it is. It's the money we owe back to the bank that they gave us, and that cost them absolutely nothing, that we didn't need to borrow. We could have printed it ourselves as a country through our national bank, and we didn't. So we borrowed it. So basically it's a scam between politicians and bankers. But we as a country are told that we owe that money for real. So in that context, I absolutely don't see how taxes should be a certain thing. I don't even see how they're relevant. I mean, consider all the money that's involved in what I just told you. It's huge sums. So yeah, I don't think taxation should be a reality. And so that whole concept of debt and taxes being a certain thing, I think we got to make do with that. I think we got to get rid of it. And we have to clear the way we think about these kind of things. I think when we talk, we should try to see where does that expression come from? Does it really apply to me? Does it really serve me to think that way? Or am I serving the system by thinking that way? I think it's a little ironic that Mr. Benjamin Franklin, who wrote this quote, actually has his face on the $100 bills in the United States. He's also allegedly was a Grand Master of the Freemasons in Pennsylvania. How funny these things turn out, right? It's actually his number 2 quote, his second most popular quote, the one about debt and taxes. Which brings me to the number 1 Benjamin Franklin quote, which pretty much sums up how the elite wants people to think. The number 1 Benjamin Franklin quote is, "Time is money."